Good morning. I would like to really introduce a concept that may hopefully position GDPR and e-privacy and compliance issues as a business enabler. I am going to address the typical why, how, when, what, etc. so that we introduce that scheme. I have been 25 or so years in the business development of identity and data management scheme. In French law, and this is quite important, the definition of identity, it's an aggregate. Okay, there is nothing else than an aggregation of attributes. And as we will see later, the attribute-based credentials methodology, the ABC of the identity, is very much what today is at stake to enable citizens to streamline access and management to data that very much compose their everyday life. All day long, all week long, sometimes in the year, or let's say throughout my life, is here illustrated in a very nice 7-segment manner from, as you can see on the left-hand side, home, family and health, to government and legal operations at the very extreme right. So interestingly enough, we have here 100 or so opportunities to digitally identify, authenticate, i.e. proof who I am in my everyday life. How do we do that? Well, today, I mean, it's no news. We are already using all those attribute-based credentials hereby listed. They are not corresponding, okay? Credit card is not necessarily family, and driving license is not necessarily enterprise. But we understand that those attribute-based credentials have been today in a heterogeneous environment, enabling me to go, to do, to be, to have in this phygital environment. So what are we today bringing to that market? Well, we are first and foremost enabling a new way to manage my identity. How do we do that? We first collect all the attributes, whether by asking my enterprise, my hospital, my university, my government, or whoever is my service provider to just send me all the attribute-based credentials they have about me, and I just need to validate them. Or if I do not have either that will nor that capability, I'm going to scan or collect and send all the credentials I already have about me, on me, and I will have to send to an identity provider for validation and certification. In the meantime, I will have taken a selfie, facial biometric identification, which together with behavioral biometric will concatenate and send a two-factor or multi-factor authentication token to whoever I am connected to. So how do we manage this identity? First, by enrolling as many credentials as my enterprise, my hospital, my universities, my government, blah, 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 need. And I will certify the exactness, the validity of these attributes via an authority. We at ՀЭVATAR works with serious kissing, but there are many others who can, as a bank, as a matter of fact, as a hospital, certify the exactness of these attributes. So the world premiere is very much about the capability to collect in one place, the phone, all those attributes, whether they're identity, they are credit cards, and we add also, of course, personal data store, whether it's in the phone or in the cloud. We enable secure storage for secure traceability all along my life of my personal data. What is important here is to bring in the concept of a mobile eID wallet that will, as you have done it with all your wallets, collect all the attribute-based credentials. Okay, so we get here into the more technical part. It's the very much capability to manage the life cycle of my identity. What is important, because we have this self-sovereign approach Okay, at stake is to enable, after governments and enterprises, social networks, have created, produced, and managed your identity. We believe that GDPR, the only way to go is to enable citizens, meaning employees, consumers, or just citizens, as I said, to create by themselves the digital identity wallet that will enable them real-time, online, every day, for almost any applications, to authenticate themselves in a strong manner via a selfie and behavioral bio and other keys and tools that will have been stored and managed securely in your phone. So now, the killer app, how do we start? We don't know, honestly. We are listening to our markets. We are inviting large-scale user population service providers to tell us what are their needs. And I'm going here just to introduce 3 applications. One of them is the one that we are demoing, instant messaging payment. But we have also ongoing the capability to use this digital ID wallet for physical or secure physical access to concert hall or stadiums and so on. So we are here mixing the capability for Alice to buy on the web a ticket, to download the ticket with the QR code, because she will have registered on that website, she will have received, let's say, a token, and she will add or concatenate that token with a selfie, so that the server to whom she is connected to will combine very a limited but qualified number of information that will here generate what we call a biometric one-time token, so that when she accesses the stadium, she can authenticate herself vis-à-vis the camera that sees her coming in, but also the QR code that may be on her ticket. So there is a triangle that is being formed real time, and she is enabled as a VIP person to go through security in a very convenient manner. This is exactly what retailers, but also like Amazon Go, okay, by the way, we are very much following that path, but also security providers are processing. Last examples of a killer app is I am going at the medical doctor consultation, and he asks me to access, or he asks me my consent to access my medical files. I do so online real time in front of him using my ID wallet that enables me to authenticate myself vis-à-vis files that can be either on my phone or on the cloud. So, to make a long story short, there are no real killer apps. There are killer apps that are the ones that large-scale user population service providers are very much willing to consider. And what is important here is, as this slide shows, I have as many digital personas as there are operations. Who are we? First and foremost, a cooperative. We believe, historically speaking, the very first société coopérative d'intérêt collectif, social benefit company in English, that designs, produce, manage identity management platforms. So we have this collective interest. We believe very much that identity is a common good. We have inclusive or social inclusion approach, and our business but also deployment models enable us to be speaking today to mayors of large cities, but also France Connect and other UK government verified type of organization, but also very large industry providers, including bank, etc. Our objective is to assure citizens the continuum of their digital identity. We would like to enable citizens to go to the government and enterprise and say, this is me. Okay, so we are enabling this self-sovereignty that we did receive when we were born. Well, as a matter of fact, we try to understand what's the cycle, what it requires, who needs to recognize it, who needs to certify the fact that you were born at that time, at that place, and with that name and that first name and so on. So all the attribute-based credentials, which were originally yours, are here digitally certified in a manner that makes you, as an individual, a citizen, a consumer, an employee, the let's say, owner, the self-sovereign owner of your identity. Who is ՀቫΤAR? These are the very first members, if not partners, of our platform. So we are extremely open, evolvable, and compliant with the standards. Our goal is not to be a next generation Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and so on, but to enable those guys to take our identity scheme as part of their social network, if not data scheme management. So we are welcoming, and this is a call for joining us and a call for action, we are welcoming whoever wants to be part of that game and together with us build a federation of platforms that will enable hopefully millions, if not hundreds of millions of citizens to soon own in a self-sovereign manner their identity. But we are by design a compliance enabler. Okay? We have been working with all the lawyers and technology experts and regulators to make sure that our real job is to translate legal requirements into a large-scale user population scalable solution. That is our true mission, is to enable that transformation, that migration, that translation to happen in the most convenient, cost-efficient, and confidence manner. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Frederick.